lessons in this book could seriously change my life, so I'll be dedicating the next 7 days to it. But the reason why is a little embarrassing. My girlfriend's mom recently asked me what's new in 2026 because it's January, but I just froze. I didn't have a good answer, like a deer in the headlights. I have goals, it's just the progress and where I'm at with those goals isn't really worth bragging about. Sure, I made some videos, none went viral. During 2024 through 25, I was planning on dedicating a lot to YouTube, so I wouldn't feel bad about not going to college. But after school and dealing with certain problems in my personal life, I felt tired and unmotivated most of the time. So I just decided to kick back and put off making videos for tomorrow. Eventually, I realized I never felt ready enough. Only once in a blue moon did I actually feel like I should kick my butt into gear. But that isn't enough to make it on YouTube. By now, I thought I'd be better than this. All the time just blurred together because all I wanted to do was escape from my reality. As months passed and I feel like the same person, I feel ashamed, but I still have a dream and I'm willing to fight for it. I want to start working hard, being consistent, and start seeing myself build something that I can be proud of. Like I'm not just floating around hoping that one day I'll finally feel ready and everything will change. I want to take control and make changes now. That's when I remember buying this book a couple years ago. But like most of the self-improvement I read, I never really dedicated myself to it. I just took notes and didn't really take too much action. But this time it has to be different. And when I opened the book, I started to feel that hope again. He talks about examples of what people want, like becoming more motivated, successful, organized, and beating the low self-esteem, and how people can stop worrying about what others think. And this alone gives me hope because these sound like things I would like in my life. But this isn't the first time I felt ready to take on the world just to get shot down again. I've already had these big plans, I write it all down, I strive for it for a while, but when it gets too hard for too long, pause. Then I end up quitting or becoming inconsistent again. I end up disappointed in myself till I feel ashamed for feeling directionless in life. And then I start reading more self-improvement, plan more, get started again. But the cycle of falling off and becoming inconsistent continues and nothing gets done. I have this dread, like time's running out. Shame, feeling like I should have been better already. I'm hoping that this book will change all that. So I found some interesting ideas while reading, but I'm after the actionable advice my past self seemed hesitant to implement. And on page 15, I found it. It wasn't even 20 minutes later after doing the exercise that I saw an improvement in my life. But first, I have to explain something so you understand what this exercise is about. So first, the chimp is your animal instincts. Basically, whatever feels good and is easiest is what you'll do. You feel bad and naturally you'd like to feel better. And when instant gratification wasn't around, someone determined would build their life into something they actually like and grit through the process and escape that dead-end job. But to the chimp, that's too much work. Now, there's a lot of ways to feel good fast. Me personally, I would stress eat a lot. Or some people would scroll for hours just to numb themselves. And then you have the people that drink instead of looking for a new job because it just feels easier than picking a fight with life. So 20 minutes after I did the exercise, I recognized the chimp while working on this video. While I was looking for music to play, I saw an interesting video that I was about to click on. But in the moment I thought, oh, the chimp doesn't want to work. He's uncomfortable. He'd rather take the easy way out. So I stopped. I just refocused on the Word doc while writing down this script. So the exercise is to look over the last 24 hours to see how the chimp mind affected you. He said to keep a logbook and write 1 or 2 lines a day. This can help improve ways you do something or improve how you think about things. This log shows that there is something you can do better. It highlights patterns that go unnoticed. By showing when that chimp tends to take over, this separates you from the chimp. You focus on managing it, so it could also help with self-esteem. Because it's not you messing up, it's the chimp inside. And instead of beating yourself up and sulking, you can recognize the pattern and actually plan to do something about it. When I did this exercise, I realized I was watching too many videos the other day. I think I wanted to relax and numb out a little bit because the day was stressful. Or I worked and thought I'd reward myself with some videos. Except the reward probably released too much dopamine and I was probably overstimulated. When you're overstimulated, you want to calm down. And instead of going back to doing something productive after the break, instead of doing something productive, the chimp wants more dopamine and it wants to numb out more instead of going through something boring that's also hard. And even though we know it is better for us in the end, the chimp knows it feels really fast when watching certain videos. So it's hard to restrain itself for the future when it has trouble imagining. It only thinks of now. Imagine how hard it is to go from playing video games that are super stimulating with explosions and shooting to going outside and reading a book. In comparison, one of them is super boring. But if you're staring at a wall, the book suddenly sounds a lot better. So I realized the chimp wanted to escape. So during a Pomodoro work session, I recognized the chimp wants easier dopamine. And it whispers in my mind, you have a 5-minute break, watch a lot of YouTube. But I deny that to him. I give him a boring break by meditating and resting. So the work feels more fun. But if I kept watching videos which would give him more dopamine, he would be like chasing a high or running up a sand hill when you already have ankle weights. So recently I tried to implement dopamine detox rules in my life and I noticed an increase in productivity. But when I broke the productivity chain and become inconsistent like I usually do, I had to think, why did that happen? So which is why the log is useful. And after writing and reflecting, I realized the chimp would fall into this trap. The trap was that the chimp would say, after a long day, maybe we deserve something. We could watch what some would say is a boring, long boxing match. Then it turned into something more because yes, it got a little boring at some points, but YouTube Shorts were right around the corner. And before I knew it, I was scrolling YouTube Shorts for 15 minutes. Then after that, going back to studying feels like an uphill battle. And because of the log, I realized and confirmed what I thought was messing with me. So I changed how I do my day. And I used to get up in the morning, I would head straight to watching YouTube videos. But on the morning of the 24th, I literally just laid in my bed and just started thinking about how things could have gone differently in high school and how being a social person would have changed my life in a good and bad way. And I think I did that for an hour, which is unproductive. But the next 2 days, I looked at the ceiling for a little bit, got bored, and then started studying for the ASVAB because I'm thinking of going into the military. Just remember, social media, movies, and video games are not real rest. Is not real rest. It is the junk food of rest. Because how relaxed do you feel after scrolling TikTok for a couple hours? I recognize that I recognize from this book. So this book helped me realize that even if I do watch a slower thing like boxing, it's easier to access shorts and Instagram reels and go down that hole. But when I read a book, and if I get tired of reading, I think I'd rather do something else. The YouTube short rabbit hole isn't a trap I would fall into unless my phone is nearby or I forget about this rule and go on autopilot and go to YouTube. So I changed my routine because of this log. And I'm not gonna go completely monk mode because I also recognize from my past that when I do that, I tend to fall off also. So I would need a good balance. So I said to myself, I'll try limiting YouTube to around 6 or 7 p.m. after I get my work done. And I only thought of that because I read this book. So basically, don't listen to the chimp. Let yourself be bored. Instead of watching YouTube, read a book. And it doesn't have to be nonfiction either. Since books are less stimulating, I eventually found myself wandering to the desk and thinking about what YouTube videos I could watch or studying the ASVAB or anything.